Everybody, it's a Sunday show rundown miracle. Welcome to this appearance by unqualified nepotistic senior White House advisor and First Lady daughter Ivanka Trump. In a pre-taped interview, of course, on CBS's Face the Nation, host Margaret Brenna sat down to go over three main topics: impeachment, Ivanka Trump's paid family leave scam, and her possible return in 2020. Ivanka was first asked about her father's impeachment and, in typical Trumpian fashion, lied. Ivanka Trump, he's energized, as are 63 million plus voters who elected him to office. This is historic, as you note. And in many ways, including the fact that it is the first purely partisan impeachment. In fact, the only thing bipartisan was the vote against proceeding forward, which several Democrats came along to reject the articles, both that were introduced and that voted against last night's vote. So, you know, what's I think deeply unfortunate and disappointing is the amount of work that we could be doing to further the shared goals that we have and that the American people want us to be finding common ground on. Brennan pushed back gently on the whole. Donald Trump is energized by impeachment by pointing to the most obvious example of the opposite. Margaret Brenna, I'm surprised to hear you say energized because when I read the letter that your father sent to Speaker Pelosi, he seemed angry. And in fact, he wrote, "You do not know, nor do you care the great damage and hurt you've inflicted upon wonderful and loving members of my family." Was that a reference to you? Trump, I don't think the words are mutually exclusive. You can be angry at a process that is unjust. And I think you heard from all the Republicans in the House yesterday, their anger, their disbelief that this process was proceeding forward when just several months ago, the Speaker herself said she would not advance impeachment without bipartisan agreement and consent. So there can be anger. Anger at the opportunity cost to the Americans we're all here serving. Angry, but it's still energizing. Yeah, you can sure tell how energized he was by the shitting his pants tweets, rallies and six-page tantrum letter. U2.be Then Ivanka Trump moved on to talk about what she perceives as her greatest achievement in her time in the White House, the paid family leave scam. Here, let her explain it. Trump, this has been, as I said, the accumulation of several years of discussion. When I first came to Washington, I was surprised at how few Democrats had taken their argument for the merit of paid leave to their colleagues across the aisle. So it really was starting from the beginning and talking about this policy and framing it in different terms. Different terms being, pulling money from your Social Security retirement to take the leave. So it's borrowing from yourself, but Ivanka and Republicans want to act like they've done something amazing. Especially when every election the GOP come into power, the first things they want to cut are Social Security and Medicare. But the biggest example of Ivanka's aloof, disconnect with humanity came when she was asked about immigration, specifically children who were separated from their families while the Trump administration paid lip service for Christmas. Brennan, whenever anyone hears you talk about the importance of being with your children, they also think about your personal, and you were vocal in your opposition to the family separation policy when it came to immigration. Trump, yes. Brennan, and the U.S. border. You said that was a low point for you. Trump, correct. Brennan, we went and looked and Homeland Security says there are still around 900 children who remain separated from their families. Is that something you continue to remain engaged on when it comes to immigration? Trump, well, immigration is not part of my portfolio, obviously. U2.be Towards the end of the interview, Trump is asked if she will stay in the administration if Donald Trump is re-elected. Trump, I am driven first and foremost by my kids and their happiness. So that is always going to be my top priority, and my decisions will always be flexible enough to ensure that their needs are being considered first and foremost. So they will really drive that answer for me. U2.be That disconnect is what makes it obvious how little she cares about anything or anyone outside of her immediate family. She can say how her children are her top priority, and is driven by her kids' needs and happiness, but is totally unable to see how immigrants their top priority the needs and happiness of their children by tackling harrowing journeys only to have our government tear their children from their arms. Did Brennan ask her anything else important? Maybe something about the business she shares with her father, her Chinese trademarks, the investigations into fraud she has personally been accused of committing. No, it was a fucking tongue bath. Let's evict them in 2020. If Ivanka is funded only by you. Money please and Happy New Year. Let's block ads. Why?